Welcome to the Liberating Beauty Podcast. I'm Rebecca, your host, and together we'll explore the spirit of beauty, how beauty invites new possibilities, enlivens us to inhabit our innate creativity, and connects us more deeply with ourselves and with each other. We'll have conversations and share reflections that invite you into a frequency of gentleness, truth, and mystery. I'm so glad you're here. If you find the Liberating Beauty Podcast meaningful, please consider supporting our work. To donate, follow the link in the show notes to the Together in Beauty website, home to this podcast, along with other offerings to accompany you on your journey of spiritual becoming. Please subscribe, rate, and share this podcast wherever you listen. And as always, thank you for your support and for being here with us. Welcome back, everyone, to the Liberating Beauty Podcast. I am so glad to have you here with me today for a special celebration of our 25th episode. I actually can't believe that we're here. This podcast started, I remember it was Valentine's Day here in the United States, February 14th of 2026. We kicked off this podcast with all of you. And it was a number of months in the making. I'd been having conversations with my co-producer, Mapumba, since the summer of the previous year, so summer of 2025. So there was a lot of sense of building towards something and wondering and watching and waiting to see what would emerge. And there was a sense of, Valentine's Day would actually be a beautiful way to kick off this conversation around the nature of beauty, which to me is connected to the nature of love and creativity. And so here we are, 25 episodes later, and I wanted to take a moment to just take stock of where we've been along this journey and to share a little bit back about what I'm seeing and noticing. The view from backstage actually is really interesting about who's been tuning in over the last 5 months. When I look at the stats that I can see about the listenership, I see that 23 different countries, people from 23 different countries are tuning in to listen to the show. The biggest base right now is in the United States where I am. And behind that, we have Japan and Brazil, Bangladesh, Sweden, Colombia, Spain, France, etc. I mean, people from all over the world are tuning in. You've had nearly 1,000 downloads over this time. So it's really exciting that when you put something out there and kind of watch what happens. I haven't hit the marketing very hard. That's just kind of not the way I'm going as we start. I'm trying to put it out a bit more organically, asking people to share as they feel moved to do so. So it's really exciting when I look at who is plugged in. People from age 23, I believe it is, and up to who knows how elder and how senior are joining in as part of the listenership. So that's really exciting to know that this show and this conversation is meeting so many of you. I have to say, I'm very curious about who is listening in from Japan, since that is the listenership that's the largest behind the United States. If you are ever interested in making yourself known and sharing what topics are speaking to you or you are, I would love to hear that. And that goes for everyone who's listening. And so thank you for taking the time to be a part of this community. I've appreciated every email you've all sent and comments on the episodes. Something beautiful is happening. It feels like in a time that we're in right now, when there are so many stories of division and oppression, that we are also bringing forward a story and a narrative of beauty. So thank you for helping me to write that story and to energize that story now and into the future. I thought what I would do in the spirit of celebration and taking stock of where we're from is just to talk about some of the highlights and maybe a little bit of the behind the scenes that I've experienced through these episodes. And of course, as always, I would love to hear from you which episodes have really spoken to you and which guests have really, touched your heart or left you with ideas or lessons that you're continuing to reflect on. I know that I've been sitting a lot with what the different guests who have joined me have shared throughout these episodes. So I've got here, I printed off a little list of all the episodes. It's kind of incredible to see where we've come from. I mean, I remember what it felt like this first episode, putting it out there and wondering, is this just going to sound like, a glorified diary entry? And is that going to meet people where they are? Is that going to be meaningful? And I have to say, when the intuition for something hits, especially something creative, my sense is that we don't have to know what will come of it for it to be deeply meaningful and for it to be worthwhile of our attention. And that's exactly how I felt with the podcast. So I said, you know what? I'm not sure who this is going to reach, and I'm not sure what this is going to sound like, but I feel in my spirit that this is something meaningful that is mine to offer. So thank you for hearing that call. I guess the first one that stands out to me is the first one I did with another person, with my dear friend Sandrine, the postcard to your future self. And that one is one of the episodes that's received the most downloads and listens and comments, both comments that I see people have posted, but also that have reached out to me personally to say how much they connected with the spirit of Sandrine's journey and have had their own connection with whether their own cancer journey or somebody in their family. But that in the spirit of kind of the behind the scenes, I was so nervous for that first one, that first conversation, getting all the equipment set up and not sure, is this going to work? And it's just amazing to have had one of my best friends there with me as part of, helping to launch that next version of the show. Having, another person available and witness and participating in the show is really gorgeous. I look at some of the other episodes like Why I Sing for Us and Well-Being is Wanting to Be Remembered. And it's just so meaningful for me to be able to also share with you my poetry, which is just another form of the conversation we're having on beauty, or even some of the dreams I've had, like the psychic, the spy, and the illusion of the jackpot. So funny, that episode sounds so pop culture. Whether or not it does, I have no idea, but it seems to have struck a chord with folks, because that one was another one that a lot of people are tuning into and connecting with. But even beyond that title that feels a bit theatrical, the theme of that one of really trusting what is ours to know and not being seduced by a story of what or somebody else's knowledge of you, seeking some validation outside yourself. I mean, and that's absolutely a theme that I see woven through all of these episodes, that reclamation of truth, of agency, of anchoring, of groundedness within ourselves, which doesn't preclude our ability to connect with others, but to trust when inspiration strikes. And when we think of who is the keeper of our soul and our story, we can trust that we are. And that's certainly run throughout even some of the earliest episodes, like on love, forgiveness, and coming home to beauty. By that, I mean coming home to yourself. I also had a number of people really connect with the Prophet's Messenger. This is the one where I received a message that I believe was from my father in the form of a literary journal editor who published some of his work, reaching out to me and sharing a piece called The Prophet's Messenger that my dad had written before he passed away. And he was writing, imagining what it would be like in some sense when he did pass away, and how would he be able to continue sharing wisdom from the afterlife. And so it was just bizarre to receive that essay now that he has passed, and feeling like he was sharing that wisdom with me, that I was then able to share with you, and that so many of you connected with the idea of being able to be together with ancestors who have passed in all sorts of creative ways, whether that they come through in pictures, whether they come through in voices that we could hear, or just these utterings or glimmers of allowing and letting us know that there is more than what we can see in this 3D plane of reality. But maybe more than anything, even more than the themes of the different episodes that have emerged, one of the things I've enjoyed the most about creating this podcast, and that I find myself talking about the most with others, is the radical sense of permission to be as I am and to share as I am. And I'm saying that now again back to you because I believe inside of all of us, there is something that is just yearning to be known. And right now, the way that is coming out and through me is through this podcast. And it really delights me to wonder what that looks like in each and every human being. What is that spark of creativity, of wisdom, of delight and desire that wishes to be made manifest, and that if it felt that it mattered, which it does, what would it create? What kind of beauty would emerge if we felt that thing inside of us really mattered? And I'm, in a sense, by giving myself permission to say, hey, this thing that I hold, it matters, and I'm going to tend to cultivating it, to nurturing it, to putting it in the world in a way that is meaningful. That is a way of giving permission for others, just as all of you give permission right back to me. It's the giving and receiving constantly of permission and joy and love to be exactly as we are. It's been the greatest joy of this entire journey with the podcast, noticing it's a quickening, a certain quickening of the quietest confidence to say, this story of mine, this way of seeing, this way of being, this architecture that is only the faintest outline of what is yet to come, it matters. And the more I energize it, the more beautiful it becomes. I still don't know where all of this is going, and I don't think I need to. And again, I'm saying this only so much as it is useful in your saying the same thing to yourself. So I shared with you that my family is on the verge of an international move, which is now just a couple of days away. It's so wild. So I really am feeling this spirit of celebration, of joy, of transition, of coming into a new chapter of being and of beauty. And I have to tell you, I cannot wait to share with you from the other side of the journey of finally landing and rootedness. I'll share more about where we are, I'm sure, in subsequent episodes. But for today, let me say as clearly as I can, thank you. Thank you so much for being a part of this vision that has just the faintest contour at the moment, but it is fueled with something so true, and I can feel it to be generative. Thank you so much for receiving me. As we move forward, it would mean everything to me to hear from you, to hear what topics are still sitting with you. Were there conversations that happened? Were there particular guests? Was there something I said that you thought, oh gosh, I'd really love to know more about that? I encourage you to write to me and to share with our community as we grow this really beautiful space together. And I'll leave it there for this week and wish you all the best. Take care. Thank you for listening to the Liberating Beauty Podcast. To learn more about the podcast, my work, and how I can support you on your journey of spiritual becoming, head over to the Together in Beauty website or email me at rebecca@togetherinbeauty.com. It's an honor to accompany you on the journey. A huge thank you to our multi-talented producer and co-creative director, Mapumba Cilombo. To learn more about Mapumba's work as a producer, sound engineer, and musician, check out the show notes for a link to his website at mapumbamusic.com. And as always, many thanks to you, our listeners. None of this would be possible without the energy, encouragement, and vitality that you reflect back to us each week. Until next time, may you walk in beauty.